We can all agree that violent video games is one of the most popular controversy topics debated all around the world today. Both men and women are becoming exposed to violent video games through the media in such a negative, physically, emotionally, and mentally. In our society, children these days start off at a very young age playing these violent video games because it's an easier way for parents to keep them busy while they finish important tasks. What parents don't realize is that this influence isn't a positive way on their child's life, and instead is sending a wrong message of the real world from what is being shown from these video games. Violent video games have been in production from the very first one, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You all might agree that violent video games have made a huge profit in today's economy, such as Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Halo, and WrestleMania, and etc. Nonetheless, these games are still sending the wrong message. Whether a person is 8 years old or 45 years old, playing these games are still likely to be negatively influenced. For example, many people learn the different ways to fight in school and steal a car. Violent video games present crime, violence, sexual themes, concern in social development, lead to addiction from something that is initially created as a fun, harmless game, and may present it as one might say a stress reliever. Violent video games are demonstrating how to pick a simple controller and learn all sorts of techniques on committing a crime, or sexually harassing a female or man in a matter of seconds within hundreds of different ways. Young children are exposed to this and are constantly playing these games till they become adults, more aggressive and out of control. These children have practiced over and over the ins and outs of the game, and finally become ready to put their skills to use, and one day may hurt someone in the process. For example, the website wikipedia.com. One video game controversy. On June 7, 2003, 18-year-old American Devin Moore shot and killed 2 policemen and a dispatcher after grabbing the officer's weapons following an arrest for the possession of a stolen vehicle. At trial, the defense claimed that Moore had been inspired of one of the games, Grand Theft Auto: Vice City. If it weren't for these cruel, spiteful, and hostile games, Moore's incident would have never happened. Allowing people to be able to play such heartless game is despicable and useless. Most of these violent video games are being exposed to people in demand, which are involving criminal behaviors and demonstrates inappropriate physical actions. The media just loves the increasing amount of money it's making by selling the sex, drugs, and violence through these violent video games. These violent video games demonstrate not only behavior, but shows prostitutes, hookers, and sometimes women wearing nothing during their battle or car race. To illustrate, in 2006, a Japanese video game company, Illusion Soft, released Rape Blade, a game in which a man stalks and rapes a mother and her 2 underage daughters, allows a player to group and undress the characters on a crowded train ride. Player may force any sexual positions and with women's leisures and positions all are shown. Allowing this kind of contact in our youth of our generation will ruin the rest of their lives in harmful ways physically. Child act upon what they see, learn, and hear. So when parents are responsible for letting their child be exposed to certain negativity, it affects other children that they are accounted with inappropriately. Finally, violent video games take a huge toll on social development and how one spends a number of hours playing such intense games. When children or adults are exposed to these violent video games, they are so caught up on what is happening after every level, they forget to realize how much time is being spent. One might begin to lose interest in other hobbies, such as sports, which is a major impact when you are a kid, or even friends. Becoming so addicted to these games starts making people play them alone and become extremely antisocial. For instance, in August 2005, 28-year-old South Korean Lee Sung-sok died after playing StarCraft for 50 hours straight. People don't think that video games have relations to one's body health, but it does. Some researchers even show the faster you're playing, the more aggressive one might get in a game, their heart rate will become faster and cause heart attacks. Studies have shown that many people spend so many hours playing they affect their schedule of school, work, and even eating habits. Some even mention that doctors have found patients having an effect in their health due to playing violent video games socially and physically. One might disagree and say, and even show proof that video games may not correlation to these behaviors or incidents. That at the end of the day, it is the parent's responsibility for what is being exposed and what behavior the child takes. After, that is entirely their own fault and choice. Some people around the world can say that they play violent video games all the time, but never once did it ever cross their mind to ever hurt someone, or in a bad way. Violent video games have been a huge part of today's economy and a child's growing up. The more violent video games become, the more likely are people going to get so into what is being presented and more likely react in those ways in such a negative demonstration. Being exposed to such negative media through video games is a bad influence on today's youth and society. Crimes and murders are committed because people are mentally messed up because of these games, but also become influenced from the ideas being shown, such as violent video games shown on television and written in magazines, books, and even movies. Furthermore, we can help lower the cost of such dramatic crimes that relate to these violent video games by restricting the age more harshly and also not allow the games to be created destructively and inappropriately. And thank you for your time.